Hi, I'm Dani Johnson, and this is a spontaneous video about managing your life, managing your time, crazy stuff with business, marriage, kids, everything, like everything that you have going on in your life. Today, it seems like we are kind of busier than ever. And I had started a Facebook live video just a couple minutes ago and said, hey, whatever Q&A you got, let's start there. The very first question that came up was like, how do I manage my time? So I want to help with that. If you need any help with that, if you know anybody that, just they're at that stage in their life where things are just crazy. Maybe you have a full-time job and a part-time business. Maybe you have a full-time business, or maybe you have a couple of companies. Maybe you have a house full of kids like I did for many years, 5 of them. I now have 5 kids. I have 8 grandchildren, hopefully many more grandchildren to come. Outside of that, my goal is 25. Anyway, and I started having kids pretty young. I got pregnant the first time when I was 17, had my first baby at 18. So anyway, 27 years ago, I was a homeless woman, almost 28. And that was after making some really bad choices. First of all, I just want to say hello. There's so many of you that are liking this. Lily Cicada, hello. Ashley Dyer. We have Guillermo from Odessa, Texas. Hi. I'm actually broadcasting live from Texas, right from my home. Nobody's here. My husband is teaching a class right now. Jennifer Leary, nice. Awesome. You just finished listening to one of our CDs. That's amazing. Dion Patron, can't wait to see you in LA. I saw that on your last one. Martha Mast. So yeah, Faith Franks, what a cool name, Faith. I wish I had the name Faith, that'd be awesome. Candace Rogers, Kristen Combs, April Roga, nice to see you all here. All right, so we've got many different states that are represented here right now. In fact, look at that, April Roga, you're from Knoxville, Tennessee. I don't know if you saw the episode of Secret Millionaire, but that was filmed right there in Knoxville, Tennessee. That's the first time I'd ever been there. I've been there since then. Nice, pretty green area for sure. Therese Barber, yes, you're going to First Steps in LA. Can't wait to see you there. Okay, so I could spend the whole time just saying hello to all of you. Yeah, Keena Johnson, Knoxville is there. You're there in Knoxville also. Okay, Marissa Katie again. Yes, man, that was 6 years ago when that aired. I was a bit younger back then. Okay, so I started in business when I was 19 years old. Didn't know anything of what I was doing. In fact, I found some pictures of me from that time. I should post those sometime. Ugh, nasty. With my unibrow and giant Coke ball glasses and really bad hair. Didn't know what I was doing. Hopefully I'm learning. Anyway, I started in business when I was 19 years old, and I didn't start in business because I thought I could succeed. I knew I could fail, and I was really good at failure. I grew up in a violently abusive, drug-infested home, and so and also on welfare until I was about, I think I was 13, 14, I was 11 when my mom had a massive accident and she broke her neck, and then that kind of changed our financial situation. The finances got better, but the drugs got much more intense, and so this is when cocaine and prescription drugs and all that stuff got invited into the house. My parents, at least who I thought were my parents, the man that raised me, who turned out to be my stepfather, and I met my biological father when I was 18, who today he and I have an incredible relationship. My father and I, Ernesto Cabrera, are very, very close. But the house that I grew up in, neither one of my parents worked. I never saw anyone get up and go to a job. Never, which was crazy. I never saw a man provide for the family. My mom, was on welfare. And then when she broke her neck, she got a settlement when I was about 14 years old. She got little drips of money before I was 14, but by the time I was 14, she got a pretty hefty settlement, and then they moved into some big old house, and I was there for 2 years. I moved out when I was 16. I came home for the summer when I was 17 for about a month, and then it was not for good. So I've been out of the house since I was 16 years old, literally, and that was actually a healthier thing. So the house I grew up in certainly did not prepare me for managing my time or starting a business or even raising kids with good values. No, I mean, we're talking drugs, violence, major abuse, every kind of abuse you could imagine. So everything that anything that I've ever had success in, I've had to learn, and some of which has cost a lot of money through different types of seminars, and then others cost me a lot of money through major failure, like really bad failure. And so tonight I just want to take this time just with a spontaneous video of talking about how do you manage it all, because I ended up with 5 companies, 5 children. I now have 8 grandchildren, and I raised my kids while I was building companies. And starting back in 1996, which is 21 years ago, I had a ton of bricks hit me over the head in the form of people and major failures. I was failing in my marriage. Hans and I could not stand each other. I personally hated him. I didn't want to be married. I felt like I made a mistake by getting married to him. And this was going to be my second divorce if I had failed in this marriage. The thing I ever wanted to be was a mom. All I ever wanted to be was a mother. And I don't know how this is still making noise at me. Anyway, all I ever wanted to be was a mom. And as a mom, I wasn't being a mom. I had let a company totally consume me. I had been running 2 companies at the time. I was in my early 20s, and I let success and the chasing of it, and money and the chasing of it, totally consume my life. And I kind of forfeited being a mother, and I exchanged it for business. And in fact, I made my first million when I was 23. I was homeless at 21, and by 23, I became a millionaire for the first time. And I wasn't really smart with money. I didn't know really what to do with it. And somehow I kind of thought it was going to last forever. And so I started pouring money. I actually started another company, and I just poured hundreds of thousands of dollars into another company. And then I was embezzled by the end of my first year. In fact, my first 11 months running my second company, I did $5 million in sales. We grossed $5 million in revenue my very first 11 months with my second company. And what ended up happening there is I got embezzled. Literally 1 year to the day of starting that company, I was embezzled, which was a horrific, terrible experience. I ended up with $1 million worth of product in a warehouse that I could not move. I had lawsuits now that were coming against me. I owed the IRS a tremendous amount of money because of a bookkeeper that kind of took off, didn't pay the IRS bill where I thought it was being paid. I wasn't good at watching over money. I wasn't good at managing anything. And I don't know that I'm so good today, but I'm a little bit better. I learned something from that first experience. So I made my first million working very, very part-time. I had made kind of this commitment, this vow, if you will, that I wouldn't allow a business to own me, because my very first business when I was 19, I worked 100 hours a week. And then I ended up losing it. And then I started that second business from the trunk of my car in a payphone booth. And what ended up happening there was I made that first million, and then I invested into another company, and then I ended up, I wasn't totally broke again, but I wasn't homeless, thank God, but I definitely, had screwed up completely financially and in business. And so I swallowed this stupid pill when I was about 24, and I thought, okay, well, the way I'm going to fix this, because I had a $50,000 a month overhead, I had so much responsibility with these 2 companies. I had 2 babies at home. Actually, I had one at first. I ended up having another one in that time. And so for the next 2 years of my life, I worked like a crazy person. I did. I sacrificed everything. And it was the biggest disaster failure of my life. The business failure was not the biggest failure of my life. The biggest failure was allowing business to consume me, was allowing business and money to direct my life. I was allowing the struggle of a business to control my thoughts, to control my heart, my physical body. I ended up having a heart attack at 24 and a nervous breakdown at 25. Hold on, I'm going to back up. Nervous at 25. And so I allowed, every thought that I had was being completely consumed by that business and by the finances and what was going on with the IRS and what was going on with the United States Marshal coming to my office to take cashier's checks from my customers who are coming in to buy our products. And here, so my bank accounts had nothing in it, and how am I going to provide? And my husband, Hans, at the time, he couldn't figure out how to do it either. He was a young kid in his 20s. My expenses were so high, which I thought was high. I had a $2,000 a month house payment. I had a $5,000 a month, what do you call it? My office. One of my offices was costing $5,000 a month. That did not include all my warehouse space. It was a disaster. The pressure was unbelievable. Fortunately, I wasn't dumb the second time around. My first time around, I had a $35,000 in credit card debt. So when the second time came around, when I started making money, I refused to go into credit card debt again. So I did not do that. I never went back into that kind of credit card debt. And my gosh, my husband just sent me a text saying he's almost done. He's heading home. That's early for him. I was not expecting that. That means you and I are going to stop this very soon. So anyway, I'm just trying to paint the picture of all the major pressure, the major financial pressure that I was under. Payroll, taxes, right? The lease on the building, the list goes on. Vehicles I did not need. So After that failure, I just literally, I swallowed a stupid pill and I thought, if I work 18 hours a day, 5 to 6 days a week, I can solve this problem. The more I worked, the less money came in. The more I chased that business, the more I tried to get more customers, the more I tried to hire the right people. Everything was failing. None of it was working. I had somebody put me upside the head, tell me square, Dani, there's nothing you could do to close me on a deal right now. And I'm like, really? Trust me, I've got a 90% closing ratio. There's no way that I couldn't close you. If you were, alive and breathing, I'm pretty sure I could close you. He's like, no. And so this went on for a little bit. And I said, why do you say this? And he says, because there's nothing in your life that I want. Your life sucks. You and Hans hasn't been on vacation in years, probably. Someone else is probably raising your kids. You have no life. You can tell you're in poor health. Your life sucks. You have nothing I would want. So why would I ever want to do business with you? And I was like, I started bawling. This is in Chili's restaurant. And I just started bawling my eyes out because what he said was true. It was absolutely true. And I asked him, what do you recommend? He gave some incredible advice. And it's the same advice right now. I've been teaching people for 21 years now how to manage their time. Why? Because learning to manage my time saved my life. Again, I had a nervous breakdown at 24, a heart attack at 24, and a nervous breakdown at 25. I tried to take my own life because I completely screwed myself up by being totally consumed by business. And I was not doing what was most important to me, which was being a mom. The only thing I ever wanted to be was a mother. I didn't want to be a successful millionaire. I wanted to be a mom. And here I was neglecting my dream, chasing somebody else's dream, somebody else's form of success. And so here's what he told us. He says, you and Hans need to go on dates weekly. I'm like, oh, gosh, disgusting. Can I go with someone else? My girlfriend, Jerry, I'd much rather spend time with her once a week. You guys need to go on a long weekend every quarter. I'm like, we'll kill each other. There's no way. Okay, another thing he says, we need to go on a 2-week vacation every year. I'm like, oh, can I go with my girlfriends? I want Rohini to come with me. Jen could come with me. Jerry could come with me. I do not want to go be alone with Hans. And he says, you guys need to make your marriage the number one priority, is what he said. And he said, the next thing he says that you need to hire someone to teach you how to manage your time. I'm like, what? Okay, to me, all right, I could do that. I can hire someone to teach me how to manage my time. Done, nice task. But I ain't going anywhere with this guy I'm married to. So long and short of it is that I actually followed directions. I did end up hiring somebody that taught me how to manage my time. And one of the very first lessons in managing my time was to evaluate my priorities, to figure out what my priorities were. Now, as a girl who went to church and paid my tithes and taught Bible study, I knew what the right answer was to that question. What are my top priorities? Well, Hans and the kids. But the fact was that he was on the bottom of the list and the kids were far above him, and even them were not even where they belonged on my priority list. Based on what? Working 18 hours a day, 5 to 6 days a week, chasing money, chasing business, trying to fix something that was so broken, so failing. And here I was trying to solve it all by myself, thinking more time I spend, the more it'll get fixed. I couldn't be more wrong. I couldn't have been more foolish. I couldn't have been more of an idiot back in those days. So one of the first things that I was told was to get my priorities straight, that my priorities were completely, I'm not going to say it. Well, you can put a word in front of backwards and I think you can figure it out. Okay, my priorities were just wrong. And so the first thing I had to do was number one, put my God first. And that meant that honoring God meant that I'd be honoring my husband, that I would actually be valuing my marriage relationship, which I was not at all. We had no relationship. We hugged the sides of the bed. We never talked. And in fact, if there was any communication, it was me writing him nasty, terrible notes, telling him whatever he was. It was terrible, just putting him down because he couldn't solve my financial problems that I got myself into. And those were mine. Those were not his. Those were my financial failures. They were not his. And so anyway, so that was one of the first things that I was told to do, to get my priorities straight. And those priorities being first, my God, second, Hans, then my kids, and then work. And so I had to learn a lot of things on how to be able to make that thing happen. But that was the gist of it. And as I adjusted it, I took a major leap of faith, friend. And I cut my hours down to 20 hours a week. Yes, from almost 100 hours a week down to 20 hours a week. And you'll never guess what ended up happening. What ended up happening is my income tripled as a direct result of cutting my hours back. Now, here's how. When I only gave myself 20 hours a week to work my business, my companies, and I had two. When I only gave myself 20 hours a week to build those companies, from 100 hours a week down to 20, here's what I found out. My task list became very short and very strategic. It became very pointed at the key most important things that would produce the fastest, versus spending so much time on so many peripheral problems and getting emotionally engaged in things that did not produce revenue. Coming up with all kinds of different ideas. Listen, the quickest way to bring in revenue is to get a customer, right? And so here, because I gave myself so much time, because I had 100 hours a week to try to build a business, I was spending way too much time on things that didn't matter, things that were not producing revenue, things that were maybe some that were exciting to think about, coming up with ideas, getting things organized, and maybe thinking too much and overthinking too much and probably being too emotionally engaged, versus when I only gave myself 20 hours a week. This made it that now I had to prioritize, okay, if I'm going to keep the doors open, I got to get a customer today. What's the quickest possible way to get a customer today? Now that's a whole nother training all in itself for sure. And if you're new to this video, if you go to DaniJohnson.com, again, that's DANI Johnson.com, there is an entire library about how to get customers, how to recruit good talent, how to prosper in your job, how to grow in your job and climb that corporate ladder, get bonuses, get promoted in that, how to start a business, how to thrive in a business, how to make your first $1 million. How to manage your time. It's called Time Secrets. How to annihilate all of your debt in 5 to 7 years, including your mortgage. All of that stuff is on our website, DaniJohnson.com. So anyway, so as I prioritize my time, and again, this is a 2-hour training, by the way. There's a whole 2-hour training plus a workbook, audios and videos to really teach you the secrets of managing your time, the secrets to time in itself. How do you maximize it? How do you optimize it? How do you multiply your time? Which is what I had to learn how to do. So when I shrunk my hours back by 80 down to 20 hours a week, right, from 100 down to 20, my income tripled. Why? Because now I had to be focused on the 3 most important things that were going to generate revenue, and generating revenue is what was solving the problems of the business. It was fixing it all when I was now just narrowing it down to that. The other part is that now those other 80 hours a week was spent with either Hans or my children. And that was insanely fulfilling. It took several months before it was fulfilling with Hans. I'm not going to get you wrong. I mean, I'm not going to, try to cherry coat something here. It took months. It was probably about 6 months before I started to like him again, probably because I started to like me again. I hated myself at that time in my life. And so, but right away, and it was difficult too. Probably the first month was really difficult, like me laying on the floor playing with my kids, because I was kind of a playful mother. And so I found myself kind of like, oh, what am I doing? Gosh, I don't really know how to do this. How many books can I read in a day to the kids? You know what I mean? Changing diapers, the whole thing, it was a difficult adjustment. But after a little bit of time, I fell in love with my life. And as I fell in love with my life, my business began to prosper. As I fell in love with my role as a wife and a mother, and that took a little bit of time. As I started to get fulfillment with what I was born to be, a mother, a wife, those were much higher priorities than a businesswoman. Then what happened is that the days that I was a mom, just a full-time mom on those days, because I chose to work 3 days a week, and then 4 days a week I was off with my kids. And that was kind of like a Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday thing, or a Monday, Wednesday, Friday thing, whatever it was that my schedule was that I had at that time. So what ended up happening is that my full-time mommy days, man, I loved those days. And by the end of the day, I couldn't wait to put a business suit on the next day to be a businesswoman for that whole day, the following day. And man, when I got in there, it was like, bam, 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 and my head was clear. I wasn't guilty anymore. I didn't feel bad about missing out on my kids. I didn't feel bad about the laundry piling up, because it wasn't. I had done it the day before. I was answering that call, if you will, that was inside of me to be the nurturer and the caregiver in the home, to be the lover of a man, to be the lover of my children. Those things were being satisfied on my mommy wife days. And on the days that I was a businesswoman, man, I was like free. It was like my conscience was clear and I could just attack that business with everything that I had, with a clear conscience, with a clear mind, and fully rested. I felt rested from business because I wasn't thinking about business the day before on my mommy day. But on my business day, I was like, man, just got it all out of me. And then the very next day was what? My mommy day again. So that was the day to do laundry, to cook, to clean up, to be with my children, to read them books, to color with them, to do whatever, go to the park. And like I said, it took a little bit of adjustment time because I had spent those years like in a business suit, just doing business. And so that was really, it was really, really challenging. So anyway, I don't want this video to get too much longer. It's already been 20 minutes. If you've enjoyed this, if you go to our site, you'll find more videos like this, tons of them. In fact, you can even turn into the daily show that we have. And by the way, if I'm going to see you in Los Angeles for First Steps to Success, we got 3 solid days together. We're going to have 3 solid days going into some in-depth training on how to manage your life, training on how to build a business from nothing, with no advertising budget, with no money at all, to start a business and to make it flourish like I did as a homeless woman, going from homeless to $250,000 my very first year, to my first $1 million by the end of my second year, making tens of millions of dollars throughout my entire career, making lots of mistakes, as well as prospering greatly. So if you're going to be there, I can't wait, because you'll learn how to pay off all of your debt. You're going to learn how to build your career. You're going to learn how to build your reputation to be the #1 person at what you do. Whatever it is you do, whether you do real estate, whether you sell makeup, whether you sell insurance, or you work for a company that doesn't matter what you do. We're going to show you how you're going to be the #1 chosen person that everyone wants to work with. And that also includes you if you're a stay-at-home parent. If you're a stay-at-home parent and you're wanting to groom up their kids for failure instead of training them for success, I'm so excited for steps, because you're going to learn exactly the things that maybe your parents didn't teach you because it wasn't taught to them, but the very simple things that really bring in financial success, career success, marriage success, and family success. You're going to learn all of those things all in one place. 3 solid days, Los Angeles, the Westin, LAX. We're going to have such a blast. You're going to feel so refreshed. You're going to feel so helped. You're going to feel so whole. You're going to feel renewed after those 3 days spending with us. You're going to meet some incredible people. I'm telling you, the most amazing people I've ever met are at these training seminars, by far. There's not another culture or another group of people that I'd rather hang out with outside of my family than these people. They are absolutely amazing. And again, all the proceeds from the event, all the profits from the event are going to take care of the poor, friend. So they're going to take care of the poor. So you're going to feed orphans as a direct result of having an awesome time with a great weekend, with a great group of people, getting all that you need, all the knowledge that you need financially, for your career, for your family, your marriage, for you, bringing even restoration for yourself and a refreshing for yourself. It's so important to be growing and learning new things, no question. So, and then again, all the proceeds are going to taking care of orphans. So come on, it's a win-win situation, no question. So I can't wait to see you there. I'm super excited about it. If you don't know anything about it, you want to learn about it, if you go to DaniJohnson.com, that's DANI Johnson.com, click on events, and you'll find exactly all the information on First Steps to Success taking place here. Come on, April 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. April 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. Get your ticket now. The main ballroom is almost completely sold out. We only have 2 weeks before the event's going to be taking place. You do not want to miss it. And you want to have your family there. You want to have your closest friends there. You want to have your classmates there. You want to have your coworkers at that event with you. You really do. Why? When everyone's learning this very important information, is so tactical, so it's so darn, what's the word I'm looking for? Practical. It's like completely practical information that you're going to apply immediately. When everyone in the family is able to learn the same thing and they apply it together, this is when the debt just gets squashed fast. This is when the arguing gets squashed fast. This is where peace and harmony and where there's contentment instead of contention. That's when those things happen. Things begin to click, especially in your business. When everybody in your business knows how to grow it, when everybody wants to now grow it, when everybody has the strategies to grow it, my gosh, you want to talk about a relief lifted off of you? It's amazing. So anyway, can't wait to see you there. God bless you. Hope tonight's video was helpful for you. Please share it with some other people if it was. God bless. Talk to you later. Bye.